because of who you called me.
Turtle?
Yeah, fuck you guys.
You got to
Dicks.
Well, you just started watching. You just started watching it, so Turtle kind of sucks in the beginning, but
Turtle Turtle is actually...
No, he's pretty funny, though.
He turns it around. He starts investing. He becomes like the top dog.
He dates like this hot-ass chick, too.
Oh, yeah.
I just like in because I only watched the first 2 episodes.
He was like really fat early on in the show, too. Like,
perfect. There we go.
Holy shit. Like, he lost a lot of weight in the show.
Who was it?
You could be Drama, and that's Alex's character, right?
Yeah. The first episode where he's like,
that would be the worst one.
I don't want to hook up with you yet because I'm still holding out. If what's his name, the main character,
Vinny.
If Vinny's gonna, or Vince is gonna, I'm still holding out for Vince. Like, honey, Vince is gone. So is your best friend and your sister. I was like, ooh. The last.
Wait, what is it on?
When?
What platform? Netflix?
Or Game of Thrones?
Entourage is on Amazon Prime now.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they just put all the seasons on it.
On there, yeah, I think.
Well, it wasn't on there a few months ago because I don't check it often because there's like normally nothing on there. But
How
they
Met
just
Your Mother's on Hulu.
Yeah, that's been on there. I might just.
HBO,
I'm about to get rid of Netflix.
HBO for sure, it's on there. It's an HBO show.
Yeah,
they don't ever get rid of their shows.
I'm gonna start watching Entourage again.
It's pretty good. I've needed a new show to watch too.
That show's good. It's like total like guy show though.
Yeah.
Did you guys see that Ja Rule thing?
No, I kind of saw a little bit of it, but I didn't know. So he was like trying to hype up the crowd, and then he like puts the mic up, and nobody.
No.
Like,
so he's like,
I guess not then.
So he goes out there and he tries to tell his DJ like, "Are we ready?" And his DJ doesn't play any music. Like the guy, it was supposed to turn the music on then, you know, like and be like, "Are we ready?" And then the music goes. Then he was like, "I said, are we ready?" And it was like still quiet. He goes, "Guess not," and just like walks away. But I was gonna try to use that as our intro.
Sanchez, we ready? 1 second, I'm loading up. Are we ready? I guess not.
Are you guys ready?
Oh yeah.
What's up, everybody? Three Amigos and a Podcast, episode 38. Ryan, welcome back from your honeymoon.
Hey, thanks, guys.
Marriage looks good on you.
Thanks, appreciate it.
We got a married guy on the.
I know. Now we got a married guy on the podcast.
Oh yeah.
I don't know. We might have to replace him. No.
I was thinking about this. He is the second married guy on the podcast. First since Rollo in like the second episode.
That's right. Yeah.
What was that? The episode of the robbery.
Yep.
Yeah. The burglar.
The chase down episode.
Dude.
The bat.
That's pretty funny.
He allegedly had whacked the guy with.
Allegedly had chased down a robber trying to break into our neighbor's truck.
Allegedly.
Yeah.
Allegedly.
Keyword.
That was the key word.
So, dude, tell us about the honeymoon.
Dude, it was great. It was funny because, you know, obviously it rained at our wedding, which ended up being totally fine.
Yeah.
Made everything a little bit more intimate and better. First day we got to Kona, it was pouring down rain. It was just like nonstop all day. But then the next day it was, you know, sunshine and everything dried up. It was fun. We spent a lot of time at the beach, got to go to a coffee roastery, did some other stuff as well. Took advantage of being on our honeymoon for sure. Got a free bottle of champagne. One of my clients actually sent us a bottle of champagne to our room as well.
Nice.
That was really nice.
Sweet.
So what was the highlight of the honeymoon?
I mean, I don't know if I'd pinpoint anything. Like, it was just nice to get away and relax for a bit. I mean, we hit up a couple different beaches. I will say we haven't told everybody yet, but we invested in a timeshare out there with the Hilton. And it was, you know, relatively cheap for what I didn't tell Shaylee this beforehand, but I'd been looking it up for, you know, the past few weeks because, you know, we don't take a lot of vacations with just us or just our friends. We do a lot of family stuff, which is totally fine. So we did one where we get to go once every other year. We get a week-long vacation, and we'll have it paid off pretty soon too. So
yeah, I'm excited for that.
Yeah, it's awesome.
That catalog, there's some dope places in there. So.
Yeah, like Italy. There's a few in Japan.
Yeah, Brandon, we have your bachelor party already set up. Tahoe.
Well, that's the thing with this program.
My bachelor party.
Yeah.
So I will say, like, that Hilton in Las Vegas too is on there, and they were showing us like I think the reason that we signed up for it, even more so than the vacation once every other year, you get put on their system so you can sign up to go to these vacation clubs. Like, you can plan it like 45 days in advance, and you can stay like at that place in Vegas right across from where we stayed for like $300 for a week.
That's yeah.
So
that's
like
dope. 300 for a week.
Yeah.
That's
so like you
nice.
get so many more benefits just from being an owner that, like, you know, our points for staying in Hilton hotels, like, you know, turn into rewards for us in our vacation club.
Yeah.
So just more incentive to stay in one place.
Nice.
Yeah. So that was pretty exciting. Saw some turtles. Saw a sea urchin. That was kind of cool.
Dude, those things scary.
I'm not gonna lie, it freaked me out a little bit. And like, I did see a little shark, and the only reason I knew it was because the way it was swimming. And I told Shaylee, and she was like, "There wasn't." And I was like, "No, there wasn't."
You saw a baby shark?
Yeah.
Dude.
Yeah, it was pretty fun. But
nice, dude.
Yeah, it was a good time.
I know it's funny because obviously, I mean, we talk to each other on the phone almost like every day, in the sense of like you calling me or me calling you type of thing. And it was funny because when you were on your honeymoon, I think you called me like 3 or 4 times or something.
Oh, yeah.
It was just like, you know, for random stuff or just whatever. And every time, or like 2 of the 4 times that you called me, Sarah's sister was there, and she was like, "Are you on the honeymoon with them, or what's going on?" I was like, "He's just saying hi, like just seeing what he's doing." Like,
He
gee, I
wants to
miss
feel
him.
included.
No,
Well, I told Sarah, I was like, I just feel weird when Ryan's out of continent. Like, I need him in continent. I feel better.
It was pretty funny because there was a couple of stories, and I called Dean like right after this one. We were at this nice restaurant there, right on the water. It was where we got our bottle of champagne. So we ordered champagne and dessert there. And there's a lot of like bougie people out there, but there was this one couple I was telling Dean about, and you could tell like there was either going to be a proposal or something, but like they were so like handsy and on each other, and I was like, this is so uncomfortable. Like they're like sitting there and they're antsy, but they're like touching each other, and I was like, scratch your knee or something. Like, what? Stop grabbing her ass.
Dude, in my head when you were telling me this story, I'm like, okay, Ryan's explaining it as if he's sitting on one side of a dining hall and they're on the other side. But I was like, in reality, it's probably like from me to you.
It was,
you know what I mean?
That, yeah.
And I was like,
and they were down below too.
Like, I was like, dude, he's definitely like, he's whispering, but he'd be able to hear.
Oh yeah,
like,
definitely.
They could definitely hear you guys.
Definitely. No, it was pretty funny. And then like the couple next, or the table next to us, there was like obviously like a wedding party or something like that, but it was just this weird dynamic. So it was kind of fun to people watch. Definitely fun to people watch.
Nice.
We got to golf. That was really fun.
Yeah.
Had a birdie on my first hole. I was like, apparently Brandon's like the bad luck charm because every time I've golfed around and played like shit. That was pretty fun.
She's been twice.
Yeah. The last 2 times I've been golfing. Or 2 out of the last 3. So that was really fun. A beautiful golf course, which actually like we get like half off of that now every time we go. And it was funny because I was sitting there, I was talking to the guy from the vacation thing, and I was like, he was like, "Oh yeah, you guys get like a huge like, you know, owner's rate on the golf course." And I was like, "Now it makes sense." And he was like, "Why?" I was like, "Because it costs $150 to golf there." We did not pay that to golf.
Yeah.
I was like, that makes a little bit more sense being, you know, 75.
Yeah, that's a decent rate.
Yeah.
Jesus. Nice. Well, glad you guys are back. Honeymoon sounded like it was a blast. Those pictures were good.
Yeah,
like,
it was good. Man.
You got to relax on your honeymoon.
Oh yeah.
That's
That's
like
why
sure.
we picked Hawaii. Like we talked about like doing Europe or something like that, but that, like you have to be so active.
It's
and like
busy, yeah.
even I talked to Dean's mom when we were out there. She was sending me a text message because apparently her brother owns some property out there right by where we were staying, and what was it? She was like, "Oh, did you guys go hiking?" We're like, "No, we didn't hike.
Didn't do anything.
No, we
just relax.
Went to the beach, hung out."
That's the way to go. Well, B, how's your weekend, all that stuff?
Great question. Actually, I don't even remember what I did this weekend.
Well, you were too busy to help me move stuff out of the house.
Yeah. Well, you know, spent Saturday with the lady. Just kind of hung out.
There you go.
Just had like a little like pretty relaxing Saturday, and then Sunday when I was available, you just never hit me up, and that's
I wasn't moving that day.
well.
So
It can't be all on your schedule.
when you guys come over to the house again, it's going to be a lot different because I rented a U-Haul and we did 2 dump runs with the U-Haul. A 15-foot U-Haul, filled it all the way up, so like all that stuff in the back is completely gone.
Wow.
I'm getting a pool table this weekend.
Oh yeah, you told me.
So
about
we're
that.
getting
That's awesome.
there'll be a pool table at the house. Then finish up some of the tile work. But unfortunately, I don't know how we're gonna do it next week because I'll be in Massachusetts. So it might be our first week of skipping the podcast.
Maybe, man.
Do you want to do that, or we can?
Maybe me and Brandon can.
Yeah, you guys.
I don't know if I can set all this up without you, man.
I have no idea how to set this up.
We could do a tutorial.
We could phone into you.
That's true too. Yeah.
I wouldn't mind phoning into you.
Yeah, we could do that.
It'll be 3
All right.
hours ahead.
All right. We could do that. Like 9:30, 10 o'clock over there.
That's
It'll
fine.
be like 6 or 7.
Yeah.
Something like
All
that.
right, we could do that. All right. So we won't skip one.
Don't
I was honestly
don't be
really
such a downer, Dean.
I was honestly really worried, dude. I was like, we've been going for 38 weeks strong, haven't missed one yet. Like, haven't posted one yet, and it's just like keeping it consistent, man. I was getting sad for a second. But yeah, next time you guys come over to the house, there'll be a pool table there, and
Nice.
it'll be good.
Dang, man. Okay.
Yep. I feel bad before we get into the show. I want to give my coworker Jim a shout out because he listens. He doesn't listen like every week, but he always plays it in the office and stuff, and he always like talking about the podcast. And I feel like I've never given him a shout out. So, Jim, I know you're listening to this, and I'm sitting there awkwardly listening to the podcast as well. So,
Thanks, Jim.
what's up, Jim? And
Jimbo.
what's up, future Dean? No, I'm just kidding. Oh well, let's get into it. MLB. I mean, I feel like let's just do Harper first.
Dude.
I know we put Padres first, but the big news of today was Bryce Harper signing.
I
with
would
the
like
Phillies.
Finally.
I would like to retract my comments from last week. First of all, I was very inebriated during my phone in for the podcast, and I mean, I was probably just still high off the fact that we signed Manny Machado, and I honestly love this move. I
Into
think
the Phillies.
yeah, I really do. I mean, first of all, and Brandon said it earlier during our pre-podcast text messages. Happy that he's not in the NL West. That's huge.
Yeah, definitely.
And this is big for Philly. I mean, Philadelphia, as much as whoever's just recently like a sports fan sees like, oh, the Eagles won a Super Bowl. Oh, the 76ers are getting good again. The Phillies, they acquire Andrew McCutchen, they acquire David Robertson, they acquire there's another big JT Real Muto.
Yeah.
I mean, Philadelphia is a team that can compete with these big markets like Boston and New York. And so for them to kind of take the edge away from those two teams makes baseball exciting again, because right now we've talked about this 5-headed monster we have with the Astros, the Dodgers, the Red Sox, the Yankees, and the Cubs. Even though teams aren't so high on the Cubs right now, the media is not so high on the Cubs right now, it's kind of nice to be able to throw another team in that mix. And Bryce Harper is going to bring even more electricity into the Philadelphia fan base. So I think it's huge for them to get a big face for their franchise. They have a nice young roster, so this is going to work well for them.
Yeah. So you go ahead, Brandon.
Yeah, I was
Get your
just say
opinion
I
on
like this. I like this move for all parties involved. I think Harper scored. He got the largest contract. He's got 13 years on the books. But I mean, honestly, just getting him out of the NL West, like I said, I think it's huge for us Padre fans because I think the decline of the Dodgers is going to continue, as well as the Giants. I think both of them had a chance to lock up a superstar, and they didn't take advantage of it. And I think they're going to be regretting it because this is basically, I think, going to be a wasted year for both those teams.
Well, and the Dodgers ended up sending Puig, Kemp, and Alex Wood.
Yeah.
And it made sense that they were going to add Harper at that
exactly.
point. That's kind of what I was thinking. It seemed like they were priming for this move, and they never did. And
now
the
they're sitting there.
Phillies had to make this move. They just missed the playoffs last year. They were
and the
they were
Phillies,
in the in the hunt last
definitely.
year.
They were 2 games,
and they're still a young team. And I think this is like the equivalent of Machado signing with the Padres next year. You know, like I think the Phillies are a year ahead of where the Padres are.
Definitely.
In their process, and so
well, and they talked about the Phillies and the Padres as well as the Braves last year, and you know how they have really good farm systems, are up and coming teams, and the Phillies and the Braves both outplayed where they were supposed to last year. Mm-hmm. Obviously, with the Braves making the playoffs and the Phillies, you know, coming in 3rd place in the wild card. I mean, I think that the biggest thing here that we have to remember is the Phillies have money to spend.
Oh hell yeah!
And they were
a large market.
They were in on, you know, Bryce Harper as well as they were Manny Machado. They got a lot of good players. You know, Nola is another good pitcher that they locked up for a little while.
Jake
Arrieta. Yeah,
they have some good pieces definitely, and they got the money to spend. And
well,
you just locked up 2 all-star players. You locked up the best catcher in the game, in my opinion, JT Realmuto, and you locked up Bryce Harper, who has the potential to be basically the second best player in the game.
Well, and I also think with JT Realmuto, he's one of the best hitting catchers we've seen in a long time, and that's
definitely
hard. I mean, you obviously think about a player like Buster Posey, who's unreal. People don't understand how hard it is to catch 9 innings and then try to swing a bat. I mean, the best of the best hitters fail 70% of the time. Mm-hmm. And for him to have a career average at about 280, you know, he's slugging the ball, he's hitting about 20 home runs a year. He's a phenomenal player. And I think for Philly fans, it's definitely going to be an exciting journey. Because, I mean, we forget, like, it wasn't long ago when they had Ryan Howard, Chase Utley, and Jimmy Rollins. I mean, they were a good team.
Yeah, I remember.
Yeah, I'm in agreement with you guys. I think it's good on both parties in the sense of Harper gets his years and his money, and the Phillies get a superstar player.
Yeah. I will say, sorry, not to cut you off or anything, I was a little surprised, you know, listening to what Scott Boras had to say about the deal, that it wasn't about the dollars per year, it was about the years total, how he didn't want to have to spend any of his remainder of his career in free agency, because there were deals on the table from the Giants and the Dodgers that were of $45 million a year.
Yeah, and that's the thing that's funny is because, it's not about the dollar. 13 years, $330 million, you know, that's less than what Machado just signed with the Padres, 10 over 30.
Per year.
Per year. So, you know what I mean? So it's one of those things that it wasn't about the money.
Well, it was like, it goes back to that point you remember in Moneyball when they're talking about how, you know, Billy Beane gets that monster deal, and he's like, this monster deal it's not about the money, it's about what it means to you. You know, like this tells you that you are the best player because you're getting the best contract.
Yeah.
You know, so he's getting $330 million. What's his name? Got 13 325, right? Giancarlo Stanton, I think
it was 13 325.
So he's got five more million than the guy who's got the largest contract in baseball history. So just to have that title, I think that was very important to him as well. In addition to, I think one of the things they had commented on as well was California has higher state taxes. Mm-hmm. So being with either of the Giants or the Dodgers, you know, he was really going to be making less money. So they would have had to up the money
regardless.
Yeah.
No, and I sorry, go ahead, Dean.
No, I was just going to say 13 years is a long time, though.
Oh,
you know what I mean?
Yes.
And there's no opt-out clauses. There's no...
no trade clauses either, so they could trade him if they wanted to.
And I feel like it's the contract he deserves, though. When we're talking about players, you know, like Albert Pujols, Alex Rodriguez, these players that sign these massive contracts that are going to push past their prime, it's not about paying the player, you know, to play
He'll
the
be
entirety.
In his prime for most of it.
It's about, like Brandon was saying, showing the respect to the player that, you know, this is the contract that you earned. Mm-hmm. And as of right now, I mean, if we're talking about Mike Trout being in free agency, this is a different conversation. But right now, in free agency, Bryce Harper is, like we said, he's a top 3 player in all of baseball. Mm-hmm. And he deserves to be paid like one and shown the respect that way. So I think that the contract makes sense for both teams.
Yeah. So I have 2 questions for you guys. The first one, or the second one, is going to be, you know, kind of leading into our next topic with Nolan Arenado. But the first one is, how much pressure do you think Bryce Harper is under to perform?
Well, being in Philadelphia, I think that's the
enormous.
Well, not only that, but waiting this long, getting a contract like this, putting everybody through the ringer of like, where's he going to go? Is he going to go here, there? How much pressure do you think he's going to be under?
An immense amount. I think it's not. I mean, it's well known through the league, and I'm pretty sure it's no surprise to Bryce Harper signing in Philadelphia. I mean, this is the same fans that threw freaking snowballs at Santa Claus, man. Like they're ruthless. They go out there and they boo their football team the first game after they won the Super Bowl.
The guy
they're not
championship.
They're not satisfied. I mean, they're just not satisfied fans.
Mm-hmm.
So there's going to be an enormous amount of pressure. But I think if anybody's up for the challenge, it's Bryce Harper. I mean, there's nobody else in the game. I mean, again,
he's a competitor, man.
Even Mike Trout's different. Like he's a head down, always, ready for business type player. But I mean, Bryce Harper has the mental toughness to be able to handle this. So I definitely think there's pressure, but I also think that he has a better supporting cast than he's ever had. So, for him to go out there, it's not saying he needs to hit 300 with 50 home runs, but he needs to go out there and he needs to, play the game that he's played throughout his career.
I think, like agreeing with Ryan, definitely immense pressure. Especially the Philly fans, they demand excellence from their players, even if, especially, it goes back, like, you remember when A-Rod got that monster contract from the Yankees, he was still putting up good numbers, but he was under intense scrutiny because he was getting paid so much money. And so anytime you do that, he kind of, I don't know if it was him or his camp or whatever expression you want to use, but, he kind of dogged the Philly fan base. He said he'd prefer to go to the West Coast a little bit. Those fans take that personally, and he's got to produce, I think, immediately to start showing these fans basically what they paid hefty for. So
I think the other big part that we've kind of been sleeping on throughout these talks is the fact that signing with Philadelphia means he's going head to head with the Nationals every year.
Yeah. I think that was a big selling point for them.
April 5th is their first series together.
I mean, if you look at the division, the Mets kind of on the decline. They have good pitching, but this is also teams that he's faced throughout his career and teams that he's been successful against. So
this is like 1A, I guess, question. Like, so if Phillies don't make the playoffs this season, huge loss.
I think they're the favorites for that division right now.
I don't think that the addition of Bryce Harper necessarily was is the bust factor in that. I think with all the other acquisitions that they made.
Yeah.
So Bryce Harper is obviously the big factor now.
Icing on the cake.
But they were playoffs or bust before Bryce Harper even signed. I mean, you look at the money they went out and spent. Gene Segura was the other guy we forgot about. Another All-Star Gold Glove shortstop. They have to make the playoffs. I mean, it's no ifs, ands, or buts. And it's not. I don't think it's any pressure on the player. I think it's all pressure on ownership and the management, because they went out and said our team is ready for a playoff push. Now we're going to go spend the money to fill in the holes. You filled all the holes that you needed. Now they have to go out and perform. I don't think it's going to be a hard, transition. I mean, I think, again, you look at the Mets, they've taken several steps back. The Marlins aren't a good baseball team at all.
We talk about shift in power too, like at the National League West, but it's the same thing for the National League East. You're taking one of the best bats on the Nationals, and you're bringing it and you're putting it on your team. Yeah. So, addition.
I don't sleep on the Nationals ever, though, man. I mean, as much as that's a huge, obviously
their
losing Bryce Harper.
Great.
And their pitching in that division alone is some of the best in baseball. I mean, the starting...
Even the Mets got
That's
great
what I mean.
pitching.
The Mets, the Nationals, I mean, it's...
Marlins are going to be bottom feeder for sure.
Yeah, definitely. I'm blanking on the other team in that division.
You got Mets, Nationals...
Braves.
And
the Braves are another up-and-coming team. I don't think that their pitching is as strong, but it's a good division.
Yeah. I think the Braves will probably take a slight step back this year. I think they kind of
overachieved for sure.
Yeah.
No, last season?
Yeah.
Definitely.
And then I think the Nationals way underperformed, and I think that was one of the reasons why they took advantage of it.
And Bryce Harper didn't have... I mean, he had the most RBIs he's had in his career, but he definitely didn't play up to his true potential last year. Mm-hmm. But they got some good guys on that team still. Soto, He's not a scrub, man. That dude performed really well in his rookie year.
Yeah.
Definitely should have been a candidate for Rookie of the Year.
Their third baseman's a stud too.
Rendon.
Yeah.
So I mean, he
might be one of the best in the game.
Oh, definitely.
Honestly.
So that leads my second question. With Harper going into free agency, signing 13 years so he doesn't have to go through free agency again, and we've seen, this trend of late signings over the past couple of years, signings into February. Do you think players should do you think players are deserving of free agency, or do you think that they should settle for extensions like we have with Nolan Arenado?
I think it's different for every situation. I think that the Rockies value Nolan Arenado more than any player that they've had. And I think that it was important for them to not allow it to get to this point. I feel like the Nationals had an opportunity at one point to, bring on more money, offer Harper a larger contract, and obviously we saw that they didn't want to give him the years. With the Nationals, we saw them at their best, and they made it to the NL Championship game, and they could never get past that. And I think that it's not just about winning a World Series for Bryce Harper, but I definitely think he wants to be in a city where it's an expectation to win a championship. Yeah. And with the Nationals, it's not there. So I think it's different for every individual. A lot like football, where players don't get to free agency because it doesn't make as much sense. I think you're going to start seeing that with some of these players, or we're going to have a lockout.
I think we're definitely trending towards some player lockout, just because I think the service time that we're getting out of these young guys, it's just trending in that direction.
It's definitely not geared more towards the bigger contracts. It's definitely geared towards the
player control.
Yeah,
you'll have to control these guys, and then you go through arbitration, and that's one of the things I think that I like about, like, you're seeing the Yankees doing it a lot right now. They just locked up like 3 or 4 guys who are arbitration eligible for the next several years.
Yeah, they locked up.
And they locked them all up already. It was like Aaron Hicks got a great deal, 7 years, $70 million. If I'm a Yankees fan, I'm stoked on that deal. They also locked up Severino as well. Got like a
Severino and Betances, still in Betances.
Yeah, Dylan Betances. Those are smart moves from the Yankees, and they're getting out in front of
the large contracts coming from
what
Judge
I think is what's going to happen. And
Torres.
I think we had already talked about this on another podcast, but getting that money set so that way when your superstars are nearing free agency, you can offer them a great extension like a Nolan Arenado extension. Arenado is one of the best. In my opinion, I think he's the best third baseman in the game. And
it's just funny because Brandon said that about like 3 guys today.
No, he's the best. I've said I said Rendon's one of the best. He is the best in my opinion.
So that kind of platforms into a question that I wanted to bring up with you guys. Something that I was listening to Tim Kirchick talk about, or listening to him talk about on the radio today. He had a list, and I'm going to go over that list with you. But I wanted to ask you guys, who are your top 5 third basemen of our lifetime? His was, all of baseball.
Do you count A-Rod as a third baseman or shortstop?
Third baseman.
All right, I'd say A-Rod.
Remember, we're talking about fielding as well.
I'm throwing Chipper Jones in the mix for sure.
Chipper Jones.
Let's go.
Scott Rowland.
Adrian Beltre's in
Adrian
the mix.
Beltre.
Okay. So are you guys just giving me one?
No, I think we're just.
Okay. Or do you want us each?
Yeah, I want to give me your top 5s.
Let's see. I'm gonna go with A-Rod.
Okay.
And
is this in no particular
order? A-Rod, Chipper, Scott Rowland, Adrian Beltre, and I want to say Arenado because, like you said, he is one of the best.
He's freaking good, man. I love Arenado.
I want to put Machado on there instead of Arenado just because we have him now. So that's what I'm going to say.
Send that goodwill. I like it.
Yep, that's why those are my 5.
I'm going to throw Machado in the mix too, man. Machado, I'm going to go Chipper, Beltre. You got to throw A-Rod in the mix, and then Arenado. That's my 5.
Awesome.
It is in our lifetime.
So you guys are going to love this.
Kevin Kuzma.
So, you guys are going to love this. I'm going to start we'll go with number 1.
Okay.
And this is...
No. Kevin Minetti, man.
Go,
dogged him a little
You want me to go 5?
Yeah,
Start 5?
do 10 up. Does he have 10?
No, it was just
or
five.
Just 5? Yeah,
Just top
do
five.
5 to 1.
Okay, so remember, this is you guys are giving me of our lifetime, so that's totally fine. So there's a couple names on this list that are obviously or replaceable with players that you just named. But number 5 is Mike Schmidt. Obviously older generation, 70s baseball player. 70s, 80s, phenomenal third baseman. Number 4 of all time, Manny Machado.
All right.
Dang. Okay.
So I mean,
Dude, I've been watching a lot of Machado highlights.
freaking good,
it's
man.
literally like, obviously the bat is there, but like his glove is phenomenal.
Yeah.
Dude, he gets deep in the
His
hole.
glove's underrated, is what it is. Like he's
Dude, and he's fast too.
Well, and that's
He's
exactly what he
fast.
said. He's like he's quick and he's got a cannon.
Yeah.
Number 3 was Scott Rowland.
nice. Good pick.
Yeah.
Number 2 was Nolan Arenado,
Nice,
Damn.
my boy.
and number 1 was Brooks Robinson. So that's
Dang,
just
2
funny
in
out
our
of that.
lifetime,
Yeah.
Well,
or like playing
2
right
are
now.
current.
I mean,
playing
Yeah,
right
Scott
now, current.
Rowland and
Arenado, Machado.
yeah. I mean, but like you could throw Chipper Jones in there. You could throw
Chipper's
A-Rod.
a stud.
Yeah, so I mean, there's obviously names in there, but I was just like so mind blown. I was like, I mean, this is a guy that his job is to analyze baseball, not just current baseball, but the lifespan of baseball.
Honestly, like one of the most exciting things about the Machado signing is we got to experience Tony Gwynn, and we talked about it. The last time we were, or two podcasts ago when we were here, and Brandon gave us all those Tony Gwynn stats. It was like we didn't get to experience everything because we were so young and we didn't really realize how good of a baseball player we were. Yeah, we were witnessing.
I just thought that's how good people were back then.
Dude, Machado could be one of the greatest Padres to ever play.
And I will say
we
too,
could be watching it.
The the lip that we gave him and the media gave him about his attitude towards baseball, I feel like a lot of that was based on the fact that he did not get a lot of respect when he was with the Orioles, and they never appreciated him as much as he should have been appreciated. And then going to the Dodgers, where everybody has something to say. You're in Los Angeles and you're on a team that's supposed to be winning World Series, who's coming up short. He's a young guy.
He's young, and plus I feel like that's hard to do, like to get traded mid-season on a contract year.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, like
definitely.
I've given everything to you guys, and now you're just gonna like throw me for some chump change to the team.
Literally chump change. They got almost nothing out of that trade.
Yeah, it's like you guys are giving up nothing for me.
It was weird how they handled that. It seemed like because
said it last year.
There was some. I mean,
He should have been traded before the year started.
Oh, definitely before
easily,
the year started. But we're talking about the way he's portrayed by the media. I do think there was a couple dirty plays. I think that definitely got blown out of proportion in the World Series. And us as Padre fans now, we can look the other way, but the other fan bases are still going to be looking at it. And,
and saying that he's dirty.
But now
and
he
all
plays
that
for the
stuff.
Padres. He's going to be out of the limelight until we're fully ready to contend for a World Series, which I think is within the next couple of years, man.
Yeah, no, I'm definitely excited. It's exciting just to hear that a Padre is on a list of like a top 5 all time. You know what I mean? I know obviously he hasn't been a Padre for a long time.
He hasn't played a game yet.
I was like, he hasn't even played in spring training yet.
Yeah.
Do you guys think he'll play a game in spring training?
Yeah.
Yes, he for sure will. But he's going to be a few weeks away or something.
Yeah, he's still got to get. I mean, obviously he's been training in the off season, but it's.
But he's.
That's one of the great things about baseball. It's like you see a late signing in football. You know what I mean?
They're fucked.
They're fucked. They're not going to get the schemes down. They don't have.
Well, you saw it with
the
Antonio Gates this year too. It's like he was fat.
Yeah. But with
I
baseball,
love you, Gates. But like, I mean, he showed up looking like he gained 20 pounds in the off season.
But with baseball,
Well,
it's like
did.
you could get in the cage every time. You know what I mean? You could be throwing BP. You could be taking fly balls. There's a lot of things you can do. You can get good on your own in baseball. So.
Oh, definitely.
But yeah,
I mean,
dude,
just like timing the batting cage
There's
alone.
not really a whole lot of like scheming either. I guess it's getting on on the same page with your other infielders.
Well, I don't, especially right
Right.
now. I mean, you're going over like game plans as far as like what are your bunt situations, what are your steal situations, what are these things. But baseball, it definitely comes down to how you start to perform, and then they start to get into the analytics of it. Who needs to be batting where? Who's hitting well right now? Who's getting on base?
I got him batting second in our lineup. Where you guys got him?
go ahead.
No, I would probably say third or fourth, just based off of the fact that, okay, I could kind of agree with you because of Eric Hosmer. I feel like Eric Hosmer, if he was any fast at all, should be batting 2. Yeah. Manny Machado's not a speed burner either, but I think he just puts the ball in play, gets on base more,
moves the runner.
Well, you're seeing a trend where you put your best hitters earlier in the lineup than it used to. So like, you remember you're seeing Harper leading off, Anthony Rizzo leading off. I don't think he's got the speed to lead off.
I think it depends on how well Will Myers or Hunter Renfroe are hitting, because I could definitely agree with you if Renfroe's hitting some balls into the gap, because then you're getting somebody on base fast. In my opinion, Hosmer should be our freaking leadoff hitter right now. Other than Margot,
you want Margot, I don't think it's going to happen.
He doesn't have that consistent of a bat. I'm fine with hiding Margot at 7 or 8, because that sets up better bunt situations with the pitcher. But and obviously this is in freak baseball leagues, but Eric Hosmer to me should be our freaking leadoff hitter based off the fact that he can get on base, and then I could kind of see Manny Machado at 2, but.
Or Urias leading off.
That's the dream situation.
I was thinking Urias leading off, and I have Machado hitting anywhere from 2 to 5. Yeah. Like either he's hitting 2nd or he's hitting 5th. Yeah. I'd rather see him hit 5th in all reality. You know what I mean?
I just want him to get more at bats.
Yeah, I was going to say
he's our best bat.
I would say I'm not putting him past 3 because of that. I even toyed with the thought of 4, but batting 3rd, you're at least guaranteed that 4th at bat.
Yeah, but I just depending on who's in the outfield. I think Myers is going to hit 3rd, and then I'd go Hosmer 4th. So that's why I could say 2 or 5 in the sense of
I feel like Renfroe's a good cleanup hitter. I feel like he's got the power, and
I just see
he
the
does
Padres
well with guys in scoring position. I feel like we saw it last year. He's got a lot of grand slams on his resume at a young age.
I say 2 or 5 just in the sense of Petco's always kind of been a pitcher's field. The fence was always deep. I know they brought it in a few times.
He's a dead pull hitter though.
But I just see them playing more small ball. Yeah. A lot more like getting through batters, getting people on base hits.
I definitely think that dude's going to hit at least 30 home runs this year, because there's a short portion left.
He hits over 30 every year too. He's like averaging like 35 or something like that home runs.
Knock on wood.
No, that's one of the things that I liked about him a lot more than
just humor me. Just thank you. Appreciate that.
As opposed to Harper. Harper has been very inconsistent in his time. His upside's I think a lot higher.
I was going to say, I think that if we're talking about if we had to rank the top 5 players in baseball right now, Bryce Harper would be on my lower side, just like Brandon was saying, because of his inconsistencies. When he's at his best, he's a top 2 player. Yeah. But obviously you look at a player like Mike Trout, number 1, and then don't sweat over here, but I like, Nolan Arenado at number 2, and then I would probably plug in Manny Machado at 3, and then Bryce Harper at 4, and that's right now. Obviously, when the season starts, it's a totally different story, because Bryce Harper is an MVP,
Yeah,
he is a National League MVP.
That year he won the MVP, man. That was.
He was the best player in baseball.
It was like him and Trout were just neck and neck for best player in baseball that year.
Yeah, so he has his upside could potentially be the best player in baseball. I don't think we're ever going to see that because of what Mike Trout is able to do.
Trout does it on a consistent basis.
It's unbelievable.
That's what sets Trout. And Trout plays center field. He plays at a more premium position.
Yeah.
Well, I wanted to cover Padre spring training because I feel like there's been a couple highlights. The one, in my eyes, the biggest was Chris Paddock's outing, how amazing he looked. And then 2 was Tatis homer in 2 games in a row.
So this is what I want
to talk. And a double today, too.
This is what I want to talk to you guys about, because we were saying earlier, I was like, I think Tatis has the potential to be a 40 home run type player. Brandon was saying 30. My only reason for saying this is because if you look at the 2 home runs that he hit, the first one he hit was a line drive.
God, that one was impressive.
Dude, you know who his batting style looks like? Is Giancarlo Stanton. He gets that leg inside and so much leverage on the ball.
Dude,
it's like...
Dude, but that was just he didn't even have any launch angle on
any other player that's a double.
Yeah, and he just smoked it over the fence. And then the second one that he hit it off 1 foot.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And drove it over the wall. It was like a
low to tie the game with 2 outs in the ninth.
It was a low and outside curveball, and he just 1-footed it over the fence. The dude has raw
deep
power.
Too. It bounced off that roof out there.
Yeah,
it was
He's literally a 5-tool player, which I don't know. Like in our lifetime, I don't think we've seen a 5-tool player on the Padres. Like someone who can get it done on every level.
No.
Like,
Mm-mm.
yeah, right?
Tony Gwynn did most of his stuff when he was fat.
Well, and Tony Gwynn never hit more than 20 home runs. I think 15 or something like that was his like season high. So he never had the power.
I think Mark Loretta had a good year.
Loretta hit for average, but he never hit more than 20 home runs too.
No, I thought he had the one year where he hit close to 30.
I don't think he ever hit 30 home runs, but he was like a 15 home run. He might have got close to 20 a couple of years, but yeah, he was definitely, as far as average goes, his glove was solid. But this is literally the first 5-tool guy that we've seen, and there's very few of those in all baseball. And the fact that I think we have 2 of them on the left side of our infield, that's impressive. And we could, I think, a couple of years from now, be talking about how the Padres have
Brandon was right.
The best infield in all baseball.
Oh, dude, easily they could be the best infield in baseball.
Oh yeah.
Urias went yard 2-run shot today too. So
I mean, you're talking about we already have 2 Gold Glove players on the corner. And
technically, we have 3 with Ian Kinsler right now. But
no, on the corner.
On the corner.
On the corner. Yeah, and then you have Luis Urias and then Fernando Tatis. And Tatis' glove is just as good as his bat.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, that's why he's a 5-tool guy.
I mean, I was reading an article today that was talking about it went over what the lineup is going to look like on a month-to-month basis. And it went like, obviously you have like Ian Kinsler playing second, Urias playing short, Machado third, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
And then the next month is not the next month. It was right before the All-Star break when they put in Fernando Tatis. And I was like, oh my gosh, it's happening.
So ready for that.
I want to ask you guys this question too in regards to Tatis. So he's off to a hot start right now in spring training. Yeah. Like, I mean, his batting average is probably at 400. He's got 2 home runs. You know, he's doing it all. He's drawing walks.
He's not playing every day either. That's
literally everything you could ask for out of him, he's doing it. And, you know, let's say he keeps it going all spring ball. Are we going to be under pressure to get this guy called up immediately? Like, so, and if so, like, you don't want to piss off your future superstar, you know?
I can answer this question with one person's name, and that's Chris Bryant. So there's
Chris Bryant is pissed off over it too.
Yes, but he's fine now.
Yeah.
I don't think there's any way in hell he's coming up for opening day. And I wish he was. I mean, I really do. I
thought you were going to say another name. I thought you were going to say Anthony Rizzo. The way that the Padres mishandled his situation and brought him up too early.
Yeah, no, not like that. But Rizzo didn't play as well in the minor leagues.
With the Padres, yeah.
And I think that was they did that for the wrong reasons. I think they brought him up for fan interest more than anything.
I still think that was an inside job, but
yeah, no, I kind of.
But that's the only reason why I think that they won't is because they're still scarred from a move like that. Obviously, it's different.
I don't think that the situation is anything to do with that. I think
Rizzo was never regarded nearly as high as Tatis.
No, I don't. I don't think so either. I just think that they're scarred in the sense of like they felt they mishandled that situation.
Well, it's different. It's different ownership too. So yeah. I don't think that they're going to feel that pressure. But I do think with the amount of money that they're paying Hosmer, Myers, and now Machado, that they can't afford to lose a year of eligibility. Off of arbitration off of Fernando Tatis.
Now, would I like to see it?
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like,
yes.
If the Padres decide we're gonna start him game 1, hell yeah.
But what if the media starts cracking down on us that we're not calling these guys up when they're clearly ready to be called up?
Well, I think the who has a what's that guy's name? Shit, the top prospect. I almost said Acuna, but it's not.
Vlad Jr.?
Yeah, Vlad Jr. I think, you know what I mean? It's the same situation. If he's not starting, media is going to be all over them for that.
I think I think it's an expectation.
Hot of a start, but yeah.
I think that the Cubs just did it in for everybody, and now it's an expectation. So I don't think that there's going to be a ton of media heat surrounding it.
The Cubs bit the bullet for
They really did, though. I mean, like Chris, if you look what he was doing, there was no reason that he should not.
He hit like 10 or 11 home runs in spring training alone.
He was on fire. And I mean, if Fernando Tatis keeps this up, they're obviously going to talk about it, and all that means is that instead of bringing him up, July, he's going to get brought up at the end of April or whenever that dedeadline is.
Whenever the deadline
is. It might be at the end of April, beginning of May.
Yeah, somewhere in that range. It's a bummer that he's your best option. You can't roll with him on opening day.
And like right now, he looks like our best player.
Dude, I mean, we haven't seen Machado yet, but
God, and that's what I mean.
He looks good. Like
he does. Yeah.
That first home run he hit, he really worked the shit out of that count too.
Yeah, I mean, I still like watching Urias, man. Nobody freaking works a count like Urias does.
Yeah, he's been struggling a little bit in spring ball.
I didn't know he had pop like that. Like that 2-run shot was dead center today.
Dude, that little man's got some freaking pop on his bat.
It's weird too, because he's not supposed to have power.
Yeah. But Paddock looked amazing.
Paddock is insane. We haven't had a guy with this much control in a long time.
That dude, I mean, the video that I sent you guys, that high and tight fastball that he threw a strikeout, the guy from the Brewers, oh my gosh. Like, dude, even if he didn't swing, that was a strike. You couldn't have put that in a better position.
And I know it's spring ball, so your nerves aren't as, there as much, but you're still facing off against big league guys. So the nerves are still there a little bit. And he threw that, that wild throw over to third that scored the run, and he bounced back like nothing happened.
The Marlins are going to beat themselves up for unloading him for Fernando Rodney.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Oh, God.
Jeez. Yeah. I mean, I think with, Chris Paddock, Logan Allen, and Cal Quantrill, Andy Green even said it today. He's like, all three of these guys are night and day with what they were last year. Like, each one of them is like, give me the ball. I want to get out there.
Yeah.
Their confidence is high. They're feeling better. And I honestly think, too, and going back into when I played baseball, and all these travel ball teams with all these great players that I was playing with, talent does breed winners. When you're surrounded by better players, your potential rises.
Well, we were talking about in the last week's podcast with Machado, adding him to the mix. It's like the standard is there now.
We talked about how there's a couple guys in the Padres rotation right now that are on the fringe of being beat out, and seeing these guys want the ball and showing out on their outings really, proves to that point.
It's not like how it was last year where we have a bunch of aged veterans who are just there to just, just a body there who's pitching, and if he lets off 5 runs in 5 innings, oh well, it's not like he's a part of the big plan.
Yeah.
It's like all these guys, we look at them and we see them developing into potential starters for us down the road. Brian Mitchell's looking pretty good. We actually have a few guys that are coming up through the minors as well that could end up being a factor as well. You mentioned Logan Allen.
Yeah. I don't think any of those guys are going to be there right away.
Oh no, it's all about the gaining that extra year of team control.
Yeah. But I definitely think that Paddock's earning a spot in that rotation as of what he's doing right now. He's obviously going to have to go prove it in AAA.
You think he's going to get it opening day?
No, I don't think it's opening day. I think he's going to get his spot in the rotation.
No, I agree.
Soon after, though.
And same with Logan Allen.
Yeah. Again, just because of the player control.
And they're just killing it in the minors too.
And that's the one thing though that we have to remember is from now or from when spring training ends until these players are eligible, they have to be producing, and they don't just have to be producing. In order for them to get called up as soon as possible, they have to be lights out.
Mm-hmm.
And obviously we want to see that. But if one of these guys, I'm excited. One of these guys gets called up relatively quick, I'm excited.
Yeah. Well, let's switch over to some other sports. NFL. I just wanted to go through the Kyler Murray thing with you guys. The combine's starting up pretty soon, and they got his,
his measurements.
I guess his measurements, his actual measurements, and they said he was 5'10" and an eighth, and he weighed like 212. Now I saw that guy. There's no fucking way he's 212. And I saw that guy, and Russell Wilson's 5'10". That guy's way smaller than Russell Wilson.
Yeah,
I don't know if I believe it, but with the talks and with him saying all this, these 5'10", blah blah blah, people are saying he's going to go in the first round.
He definitely is going to go in the first round, without a doubt.
There's always teams that are desperate enough to reach for a quarterback before they probably should be reaching.
Football's changing too. The way that they're protecting these quarterbacks, depending on the system that he's put in, and I said it a few podcasts ago. Baker Mayfield pretty much negated any height talk for any quarterback. Drew Brees has helped that a lot. Russell Wilson's helped that a lot. So now you're seeing that they're not, these aren't players that are going to fall into the second and third round because of their height, because teams aren't willing to pass on that now. It's all about the ability on the field and the intangibles. And I like that from a football standpoint. You know, we've seen, and I've gone over this plenty of times, you know, the Christian Ponders, the Blaine Gabberts, these quarterbacks that were drafted because they're prototypical. Those are the guys that are falling into the second and third round now. Based off talent alone, I don't know if I would draft him in the top 5. You know, he's not Andrew Luck. He's not Cam Newton. You know, he's not Carson Wentz. But he's good, and he can play the game, and he, you know, makes plays with his feet. He can throw the ball, you know, off one foot. If the arm strength is there, I'd take him in the first round.
Do you think the new rules involving like hitting on it, like the hits that a quarterback can take in, do you think that factors in at all as into taking a quarterback who's a little undersized?
Not really, just because, I mean, if you look at some of these quarterbacks, the ones that move around a little bit better, you know, Baker Mayfield, obviously, they don't take as big a hits because they have the ability to extend the plays. So if we were talking about a guy who's 5'10" and couldn't move very well, I would say maybe. But because these guys have the ability to extend plays and move up in the pocket, teams aren't as concerned. And I mean, Aaron Rodgers, people think that he's a 6'4" quarterback. Dude's 6'1". And he's the, you know, I mean, if you're going to watch a guy extend a play, move up in the pocket and throw the ball down the field, Aaron Rodgers is the guy to watch. He plays big, and that's the thing that teams are looking at now. I was listening to a podcast today, and they were talking about, you know, the general manager for the Cardinals, and he was saying Josh Rosen's our quarterback for now. You know, I don't read into that at all, thinking that they're going to take, you know, Kyler Murray number 1 overall. But that's
my quarterback.
But this is the kind of thing that teams do when they're trying to incentivize other teams to trade up. So I would be kind of interested to see if there's a team out there that needs a quarterback that's willing to trade up into the top 5 for him. I'm interested to see how he throws at the combine. You know, originally they weren't sure if he was going to, but he is now. If the arm strength is there, I would for sure take him in the top 10, but that's a huge if. If the arm strength isn't completely there, I still think he's a first-round quarterback, but the value's not as high.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. I could see him, you know, barring what he does at the combine, his draft stock will go up or down, but we'll have to see.
Yeah, I don't see him falling out of the first round, though. I mean, it'd be tough. I mean, there's not a whole lot of quarterbacks out there.
You won a Heisman, that pretty much guarantees you at least first or second, right?
The quarterback from Ohio State, Haskins. Yeah, Haskins is a guy that's going to go in the first round. There's not a whole lot of quarterbacks out there. I mean, shoot, even if he falls into like 30, you know, through 32, I mean, I don't see that happening, but I don't see him falling out of the first round. There's a team up there that needs a quarterback, and there's not a whole lot in free agency.
Yeah. Then, you know, Jason Witten's coming out of retirement, going to go play for the Cowboys. I think the biggest winner here is Monday Night Football. So he gets out of
NBC.
Yeah. I don't think that was really, I mean.
I didn't hate him. I mean, I know he got a lot of bad rap, but I mean.
Oh, you mean in the booth?
Yeah. I think that there's an unrealistic expectation, and I don't understand why these companies are putting guys without any experience in the booth just because they played football. I mean, they hit the freaking, you know,
it's Tony Romo.
Jackpot with Tony Romo.
Yeah, I mean, he crushed it. I mean, and so I feel like they were thinking, like, so Jason wasn't.
He's a great football mind too, though. There's a difference between a tight end and.
But he also had like a knack for like commentary. Like he could figure it out.
Guy.
Yeah. With Jason Witten, it wasn't that he was bad, but he just shouldn't have been on a spotlight like that. Like if you were gonna hire him, like bring him on as like a
analyst or like
no, not an analyst, but like
a sideline guy, or
no,
what do you mean? Like,
not like just for
like one of those like
regular games
guys.
Not even that, just for a regular game. Like we're talking about Monday Night Football. Everybody's watching Monday Night Football. Like bring him on like Fox or CBS for a 1:00 or a 10:00 game.
At least to get some practice.
That's what I mean. Like, not everybody's watching those games. Like these are primetime games where everything's supposed to be the best.
It's the only game on.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was
Well,
that was
I mean, Booger didn't help him out either. So
yeah. I know I didn't put it on the notes, but you guys see Johnny Manziel is out of football again.
Yeah,
broke his
that guy
Canadian
just
contract.
he just does not follow rules.
wait, he did what? I didn't read what
so
happened.
he like breached a contract, right?
Yeah,
So
they didn't say what he did to breach it, but
Yeah.
he breached his contract.
I'm guessing he was like reaching out to some other team, and he's not allowed to sign with any other CFL team or something like that.
Yeah, he had to play like under his contract. He had to play for 2 years. But honestly, I think that he broke it on purpose so he could go play, AFL and then maybe NFL.
We'll see.
We'll
Gosh.
see. But yeah, that was
Time to jump on the what is the San Diego team? The Battles or what is
Fleet.
it? The Fleet.
The battles.
battles.
Something
The
like
battleship
that.
on the mind.
Oh,
San
man.
Diego Battles.
Well, yeah, we'll go basketball. I know there wasn't really any news, but kind of want to hear your guys' opinion on how the season's going to finish, or who you guys' favorites
Yeah,
are.
I mean, let's see.
I'm interested to see how the Celtics finish out this season. Right now, to me, the East is not. Obviously the East is not as strong as the West, but with how Toronto's playing, with how the 76ers are playing, even the freaking Pacers,
yeah,
dude,
they are,
put it there.
Yeah, they're actually
Get out of my head.
Yeah, they're hanging in.
And without Victor Oladipo, there's some good teams out there.
They have some great pieces.
Yeah, they do. They would obviously be in a better position with Victor Oladipo out there. But the Celtics have taken a massive step back, and now they're in a situation where I don't see them winning a playoff series.
This has got to be a tough year to be a Celtics fan.
And if you think about what's happening, talks of Anthony Davis potentially going to them via trade in the offseason, they still don't have Kyrie Irving locked up.
No,
and
definitely.
I don't think he is staying there.
No, he's not. He's gone.
And
he said he would stay, but I think he's just that's lip service.
Well, I think that if they wanted to get a deal done, they should have had it done before the season started. They've taken the ball away from Jason Tatum. It's not that he's not producing; they're just not giving an opportunity. Al Horford's taken a massive step back. Jaylen Brown's not playing amazing, and then you're looking at other players.
Dean's doppelganger is still scared,
missing
of the
in
rim.
action.
Yeah,
He's
broke my
scared of the
leg.
rim, man.
Broke my leg. What do you expect?
No, and that's. I think it's adding those superstars with the young guys who are doing so well last year that's caused a little bit of dysfunction. Because everybody wants playing time. Everybody wants to be in the limelight there. And
Well, and I think that's why they're willing to get rid of Jason Tatum, is to kind of give the ball back to Gordon Hayward and be like, hey, remember why we paid you this much money.
well, they can't unload Gordon Hayward's contract.
No, not at all.
And Tatum could probably. I think honestly, I think you add maybe a couple picks to Jason Tatum, and you're getting Anthony Davis.
Oh, definitely.
I don't think the asking price is going to be that much because Tatum, I think, is going to be a superstar.
And Davis is not going to re-sign there. So I think to me, the Celtics are in a situation where we could be re-seeing what happened to them after they unloaded Paul Pierce, Kevin Garnett, Rajon Rondo.
Yeah.
Because now they're going to be, obviously they lost Avery Bradley, a couple years ago.
The Pistons, yeah.
And then who was the guy they got rid of this past offseason as well, or didn't re-sign?
Which one?
Not Marcus Smart, but
They had Smart. Jay Crowder, they traded him.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I'm drawing a blank on it, but they're putting themselves in a situation where their primary source was depth.
Oh yeah, they're still a deep team.
Oh, they definitely are.
It's just I think it goes beyond that. I think it's more of a chemistry thing, and I think you have all these pieces that you've invested a lot of money into, and also just like small things like the Sacramento Kings. They own the Sacramento Kings pick, and the Kings are playing great right now. So that pick went from what you thought was going to be
top
a top
10.
Yeah, well, I was thinking like a top 5 pick going into the year, and they're the 9th seed out west right now.
No,
and
definitely.
So that pick went from being a really high lottery pick that could have,
now like a 15 to 20 range.
Yeah, and so you just don't know.
Yeah.
And
I think the other big part too is we have to look at Brad Stevens now as somebody that we thought was the best coach in basketball last year. Yeah. Now we have to be like, hey,
they are still doing well. I mean, they are 5 seed. It's clearly out east that there's 5 teams that are the teams. Like it's a 5-team race out east. And me personally, I love the Bucks just because I like Giannis Antetokounmpo, but I feel like they're one of those teams that's going to disappear in the playoffs. Toronto could be great. Pacers, I feel like they're a solid team, but I think the court shrinks a little bit in the playoffs. I don't know if it's going to work out quite as well for them. I do like the 76ers with their new lineup. And then the Celtics, you never know. All it takes is them to just click a little bit and things will get going.
I will say right now, if the playoffs started today, the 76ers will be playing the Celtics in the first round.
That would be a great match.
And that sucks.
Both of them should be going further, certainly.
Yeah.
And that sucks. So, I mean, both of them, 10.5 games out of first place for Boston. I don't think we're seeing them, much rise out of them.
They're staying at that 5. I think it's whether or not the Pacers and Sixers kind of move
and
around.
I think that the Sixers, they're starting to catch on. They're starting to click a little bit more.
They lost Embiid, and they're still hanging in there, too. So, out east, I feel like that's kind of where we're at. And then out west, there's like 11 teams that could be making the playoffs right now.
So give me your final 4. Who you got?
Final 4?
Yeah.
I'm actually...
So like 2 from the east, 2 from the west?
Yeah.
If it were me, I would probably say, based off of matchups alone, I'll go 76ers, Toronto, and Golden State, OKC.
I really don't think the Sixers and Pacers are going to stay where they're at. I have the Sixers moving up to a 3 seed. I think it's going to be Sixers, and I think the Celtics are going to get their shit together out east. And then as far as the Western Conference, it's going to be Golden State Thunder.
All right.
I'm pretty convinced the Thunder, if they just get that, their defense is lights out.
You can't bet on Houston either.
I would, and they were close. I was close to picking them, but I just think the Thunder, they play both sides of the ball well.
And to me, Houston is a sleeper to knock out Golden State. That's the team that I have. Like, if anybody's going to knock out Golden State this year, not saying it has to be in the Western Conference championship game, but if any team's going to knock them off, they're the only team that can keep pace with the firepower that Golden State has. And if James Harden can continue his year of greatness that he's having, then they have the potential. But the problem is
they've been without their guys all season, and they've just been facing injuries left and right.
They fold in the playoffs, though.
Well, and I think we talked about this a little bit. James Harden's game, I don't think is conducive to championship level ball because he's constantly looking for the fouls. And you don't get those calls in the playoffs.
No, not at all.
They tighten up the whistle, and you guys can D him up a little bit more, and his fancy footwork doesn't necessarily work the same way in the playoffs.
Like the Thunder with Westbrook and Paul George, 2 guys that aren't afraid to drive the rim.
Yeah.
They have a better chance at making to the Western Conference Finals than the Houston Rockets.
Yeah, Thunder's good, man.
So who's the podcast favorite for NBA championship?
That's not a fun question.
Who's winning it all?
Who's winning it all?
Yeah.
I think everybody knows it's going to be the Warriors.
Toronto Raptors.
God, the Toronto Raptors.
Just curious who our favorite is. Want to make sure I lock in the right pick.
No, the Toronto Raptors, actually not a bad pick. It would be nice for them, too, to finally get... Actually,
let's see if the Celtics can get their shit together. Because, they line up well against the Warriors. From a... Not just star power. You have Kyrie Irving, who's just as good at dishing the ball out as he is at scoring the buckets. And you have somebody like Hayward who can stretch the floor, get threes, as well as Tatum. They match up well. It's not great, but it's a 7-game series.
They just lock in, man. It's just teams that can lock in. They do well in the playoffs, and especially if you have couple guys like Kyrie Irving who's been there, done that. He can get the scoring down the stretch that you need. I feel like they'll get their shit together for the playoffs, I think. Even though I don't really like the Celtics, I just think they just know how to get it done.
You look at the Warriors in the last couple championships that they've won. They were 1 game away against the Rockets last year from being knocked out. And the year before that, Kawhi Leonard goes out, and they were well on their way to losing that series as well. So it's different in the playoffs. I'm not taking anything away from the Warriors and what they do as an organization. They're obviously the best basketball team.
They share the ball better than any other team in the
Yeah,
league.
but I mean, that's what's happened. So the ball, it gets turned over once or twice and the game's over. The Houston Rockets went ice cold in that Game 7 last year, and they were also without Chris Paul. So you never know what could happen. I mean, I think that everybody thinks once the Warriors get into the playoffs, they're going to beat every team, 4 games to none, and it doesn't work like that.
This is the most vulnerable the Warriors have been in a long time.
Definitely.
Like, I mean, last year I felt like the Rockets kind of caught them sleeping a little bit. They were also built to beat them. I felt like the Rockets were.
I just like how we gave our top 4 and we left out the one team that's in first place in the Western Conference right now,
the Nuggets.
With the Denver Nuggets.
God. The Nuggets. Hey, it's their first time. They're a young team.
Well,
young teams have to learn. They learn the hard way.
My biggest thing is, like, if the Lakers do turn it around and end up making the playoffs, they're going to be an 8 seed. And if the Nuggets play the Lakers in the first round, there's no way LeBron James is losing that series against the Nuggets. It's just not happening.
The Nuggets, man.
I mean, other than that, like, if they match up against the Clippers or the Kings, I think the Nuggets have the first round. But if they match up against the Lakers, that sucks.
Yeah.
Obviously, they'd have to sustain that, but with the playoffs,
they are a
right
great
now.
home team too, and they'll have home court advantage. It's really tough playing in that altitude. I think for the Lakers, they have the potential to do it. They just don't have, like, their locker room's just in shambles. Like, they just got to, like, I don't know if LeBron needs to call a meeting or what he needs to do.
I just think,
but I think everyone's still pissed off that they were going to trade just about the entire team.
And that's
Anthony
the thing.
Davis.
Do you want this team to turn it around? Because I mean, these are all pieces that you're going to be trading. Like,
well, you get them to turn it around and look. They perform better and they're.
Yeah, I mean, for me personally, I think that the Lakers are in a better situation not making the playoffs this year because, I mean, leave the locker room where it's at because half these guys aren't even going to be there next year. Yeah. I mean, they have the potential to add
young pieces. You still want the young pieces to shine.
Yeah, I just think that you look at a player like Brandon Ingram, Lonzo Ball, potentially Kyle Kuzma. I mean, even though I don't want them to trade him. Those are pieces that could all end up bringing Anthony Davis to Los Angeles with the potential to still add another max contract. So the Lakers are going to be they're fine. We're looking at a team that's going to be, a top 4 seed next year in the Western Conference, depending on what happens with Kevin Durant, maybe a top 2. I think they're fine.
Yeah. Well, you guys talked enough. My turn. NHL trade deadline was last Saturday.
Yeah, give us the update.
So I kept it nice and short. I just went with my biggest winner and my biggest loser of the trade deadline. My biggest winner was the Golden Knights. I thought they were going to be silent. Yeah,
we were talking about that in the last podcast.
I thought they were going to be a little silent because they have good depth. They're still kind of they're struggling, but they have the ability to make a push. And once they get into the playoffs, I mean, last year they just dusted through everybody over there in the East, so it was okay.
This guy was a free agent at the deadline?
No, so he wasn't a free agent, but he was under an unrestricted free agent contract, and he was the top defensive guy on, willing to be traded or willing to be picked up. So they made the trade for him. They signed Mark Stone, was easily the biggest, defenseman, two-way guy on the market. And then they signed him, locked him up to an 8-year, $9 million a year contract. So thought that was a good move on their part, and kind of, he's going to set up that. Obviously, he's a first-line guy coming in there, so he'll play blue to blues, and he'll be good to go.
Blue to blue.
My biggest loser was the Pittsburgh Penguins.
Because they got Sidney Crosby?
That and,
the legend.
They're an old team. They needed to, if they wanted to go into the playoffs, it's a hard division over there. And then, they're going to see the Capitals, which is always a fun series. But, they got the Jets in, Toronto that they're going to have to face as well. So they needed other big defensive guys, defensemen. And then they signed these 2 guys. This one guy from the Canucks, this Eric Grubbanderson. He's been kind of shit over there for the Canucks. So it was kind of interesting. And they gave up a lot for him. They gave up, 2 top guys, or not top guys, but 2 third-line guys that could be first-line guys. So I think that they needed to add a top guy. Is she okay up there?
Shaylee? Was that you?
Anyways, I think that the Penguins needed to add, some top guys, and they just added depth. So
well, you'd asked us who our top 4 was for the NBA. Who are your top 4 for the NHL?
Oh man, I gotta look up the standings right now.
So you got the Tampa Lightning on top in the Atlantic, right?
Tampa Bay is my favorite to win it.
To win it all?
Yeah, to win it all. So I think you got
They're
Tampa.
like by far and away the best team, right?
Yeah. You're going to have Tampa and the Capitals coming out of the Eastern. And then Western, I think you got you're going to have the Jets and probably the Sharks.
Dang,
That's who I'm looking at. Sharks are a young team, and they've been playing good all season. But yeah, because I could see them going through. The Coyotes are not very good, and the Flames will probably lose to the Sharks.
Whoa, the Coyotes are hanging in there. Usually they're crap every year.
Yeah.
God.
So those are my picks, and then obviously Tampa Bay is my favorite to hoist the Stanley Cup.
All right.
So yeah,
dude, they're Golden State Warriors good.
Yeah. No, they really are. I mean, they have 20 more points than the next team.
Jesus
Christ.
Yeah,
they're good to go. It was really funny though. So because Tavares, the guy, he came from New Jersey, and over there in New Jersey, they were saying if you re-sign with us, there was a restaurant that was like, if you re-sign, you can eat here for life, like for free. And then he's coming. They're playing a series next week, and the same restaurant put Tavares is not allowed in this place. Like he's not allowed. So it's just funny. It's like right outside the stadium.
Damn.
I pressed a button.
But yeah, I think they'd be my favorites.
It's all good.
Whatever.
Oh yeah. All right, I got the stat of the day this week.
Stat of the day.
And I wanted to change it up a little bit. I didn't want to do a stat. I want to do a question for you guys.
Jesus Christ.
All right.
You ruined
stat of the day, not question of the day.
It's a question that is a stat. Okay. And what I want to do is we'll play a little game now.
Wait, hold on a second. Is it a question or a game?
No, I'm turning it into a game.
All right.
So we'll play we'll play like a couple rounds, and we'll determine, I think we'll play like 5 weeks or 10 weeks or something. And whoever has the most whoever has the least points has to buy a round at the Padre game.
All right.
I thought the All Bad podcast.
How are we going to get through 10 between now and the freaking Padre game, Dean?
I don't know. We'll figure it out.
A
Padre game. Doesn't have to be the opening day. It could be
first round, aren't they?
They are. But it's just a Padre game. All right. So how I'm going to do it is the guy asking the question is going to ask a question to you two. And you two can converge and come up with an answer. If you guys get it right, then that's a minus point for the guy asking the question. If you guys get it wrong, that's a point for the guy asking the question.
And how many questions are we doing per pod?
Just one.
All right.
Not 2 or something like that?
Well, let's try out for 1, and we can go 2 or whatever going forward.
Okay.
All right, so my first question is, in what year did the Padres make their MLB debut?
Do we get to use electronics?
No, that would eliminate...
1969.
Ding, ding, ding. That's right.
Boom.
He didn't even have to converse with me.
He didn't.
I was going to say, I was like, wait, what's 50 minus 2019?
1969.
There it is.
There you go. So I figured I'd make the first one a little easy, but yeah.
Well, yeah, we saw the 50 patches on the jerseys this year.
Yeah.
That's right.
But
okay.
So
Dean's losing so
Dean's
far.
down.
Do you guys want to hear the one that I had for stat of the day?
Sure.
It's pretty funny. So, former Major League Baseball catcher Harry Chitty was the first player ever to be traded for himself.
Wait, what?
Wait, hold on a second. Harry Chitty. First of all, that's an extremely sexual innuendo. That's one. Now that's off the table, can you elaborate on being traded for himself?
Okay, so he was traded from the Cleveland Indians to the New York Mets for a player to be named later,
which ended up being himself.
So he played 15 games with the Mets, and he was absolutely terrible. And then later, the Mets decided that he was going to be the player to be named later to be traded back to
That might
Cleveland.
be one of the best stats of the day.
That is pretty awesome.
It's a little ridiculous,
Yeah, I
right?
mean,
You just never think about that.
You had me there for a second with the question of the day, and then you definitely redeemed yourself with that stat.
There you go.
Thank you. But yeah, I saw that one and I was like, hold on a second.
That's great.
It's interesting.
That's so funny.
I didn't even know you could do that.
I thought you were gonna say like something with cash, and I was like, and then they gave him back instead of the cash, but that's good.
He was the player to be named later in his own trade.
That's so funny because I'm sure like now, like when was that trade made?
I don't know.
I was gonna say there's probably like a clause in like contracts now, like cannot trade back this player to be named.
Yeah.
It's like,
It's
All
like
I
the
know
bar
is-
signs in How I Met Your Mother.
Yeah.
Like you're not allowed to like no boogie
No
boarding in
boogie
the
board.
bar.
yeah.
It had to be a while ago because the picture they have is in black and white. So
God.
Yeah. I'm sure there's a clause in most of those contracts.
Yeah.
Not anymore.
And those
Cannot
trade
be
clauses
myself.
now. Yeah,
but yeah, I thought that
that's
was
pretty funny.
That's good.
But all right, guys, we are the Three Amigos in a Podcast. You know, follow us everywhere you listen to podcasts. If you're not already by now, tell somebody about us. Do all that kind of good stuff. But I'll be in Massachusetts next week, so we'll do this via Skype.
Nice.
See how that goes.
Got to download Skype.
All right, guys, everybody,
Alrighty.
have a good one.
Later.